Hello everybody, so this video is entitled Free Stocks Brutalized by Mr. Market. I want to talk about TransMedics and CELH, who have both reported their Q1 earnings and ever since have been brutalized. And I want to talk about HIMS, which may be next. We'll see tonight. We'll see what's going on tonight. So let's talk about these stocks. TransMedics, again, I wanted to do a dedicated video, but when I do a dedicated video, they get like 600 views and it hurts the channel. So I can't really do a dedicated video, but I listened to the call, I watched everything about TransMedics, and let me just say, I cannot possibly understand how TransMedics moved from the 140s to the 60s in literally what was a penny miss. A penny miss. They missed a penny on earnings. You miss a penny on earnings, you get more than halved. It makes absolutely no sense, the price action of TransMedics. Like, yes, I understand the R&D costs are a little high. They are developing a cold storage solution for their upcoming trial and for short distance heart transplants. And the market got spooked by that. The market somehow read that it unvalidated their platform because they're moving into cold storage. But the reason why they're moving into cold storage, from what I understand, is that the other cold storage solutions would not be allowed in their trial or something like that. And plus, the cold storage solution they're developing is going to be helpful for transplant centers that are trying to transplant organs, namely heart, from like a 2-hour drive or something like that. But they're doing it for their trial. So sure, there's a little bit of a higher cost in Italy for investing. They're investing in Belgium as well. And there's a little bit of a higher fuel, I suppose. But give me a break. Okay, that led to a 1 cent drop. 1 cent drop. Okay, what if we have another 1 cent drop compared to analyst expectations? What were the analyst expectations? Why aren't the analysts taking into account the long-term guidance of 10,000 transplants by 2028, which was not changed? 10,000 transplants by 2028 guidance has not been changed by TransMedics. It's still there. And by the way, they even put this slide, like one of the first times in the presentation, the guidance for 2026 is reiterated. They are still guiding for 25% growth. And if you look at that, look at the metrics. I mean, these metrics are stellar. This is all you need. And we have, of course, the driving seasonality in transplants, in that some quarters are better because a lot of organ transplants happen during quote unquote driving season, and you'll know why, right? It's kind of unfortunate. But if you look at the revenue growth, I mean it's pretty much consistent with that yearly seasonality. But income from operations, I mean we are having operating leverage on income. We are having income. We're making money here. Like this business is working out. It's a founder-led business. The CEO is very dedicated to the company. They're investing for the future. They're going international. They're expanding to new organs. They're developing, a cold solution for short-term distance so that they don't lose a contract with a transplant that may have a greater mix of short-term transplants. To me, everything's going fine. Now, there was a request for comment at CMS. Maybe that's some of the reason. But even then, that nothing was dire on the call, and the presentation was really good. I loved the quarter. Again, I tend to be bullish. I'm a very bullish person on this channel. I cover only stocks that I love. Trust me, there's a lot of stocks I would never cover because I don't love them and I think they're going to zero. I only cover the stocks that I love. This one, as far as the numbers goes, as far as the vision goes, as far as everything goes, this one, to me, has no issue at all, except they missed by a penny. And this market continues to be crazy. You miss by a penny, you're going to get halved. That's essentially how this market works. EV over GP over RG is a 0.26. That's refreshing to see that. This stock was expensive at the 140s. I didn't like it at the 140s. In the 60s, that's beginning to be pretty darn interesting. So anyways, that was for TransMedics. Moving on to CELH, another stock hurt by short term, and this one I know why. If you listen to the call, which I did, you clearly see the analysts are focused on the next quarter. The beverage analysts are so short term. I don't know if it's just analyzing Pepsi and Coca-Cola that has led them to be so short term, but they are so short term. Like, the questions were about the fuel and aluminium costs. Like, really? How about asking that they have $200 million worth of buybacks and they could buy back the stock in Q2? How about asking that? No, they focused on aluminium cost. They focused on Brent cost, and for some reason they had some obsession with the Midwest, asking about cost in the Midwest. Why the cost up in the Midwest? Well, it was cold in the Midwest and the trucks got lost or whatever. I don't really know what happened in the Midwest. To me, this short-term operation, I don't care. It's short-term operation. Like, fine, let's lose a few pennies for a few quarters. Aluminium and Brent crude oil is not going to be that expensive forever. And if it is, they'll raise the prices by, 20 cents, 30 cents, and it won't make a difference because most of their sales are at the cash register, at the gas station, at the convenience store. Like, can we talk about the product? Can we talk about them entering international, them going to Spain, them going to Portugal? Can we talk about the Alani brand growing? Could you have asked a question about these Alani pop-ups they're having in Fort Lauderdale where they're doing these mixed drinks? Like, what's going on? Are they going to launch that in all of the beach town in America for the summer season? Can we talk about the business instead of talking about the aluminium costs? Like, the short-sightedness of the analysts, I do not understand. I really, really don't understand. To me, you had that's another thing that I've spooked them. They had tough comps on Celsius, and they had a little bit of a weakness on the growth rate for actual Celsius beverage, but it's quarterly, and they did mention that they fully expect the Celsius brand beverage to pick back up in the summer with they're launching Electric Vibe, and they're doing a whole bunch of marketing for soccer coming to the US, right? Anyways, and of course, much of the growth for Celsius is Alani. Is talking about Alani. I really don't understand. Very few questions. They kept talking about their fizz-free Celsius and the traction they're getting into the fizz-free Celsius. You would think you would have questions about that. None. Nope. Rockstar, by the way, they're kind of selling me on Rockstar. I understand why they did it. Last video I did this full video about Celsius. I had said I don't really get about Rockstar. I kind of understand it better. They want to be a fully integrated, legitimate beverage company, have something for each segment of the market. But anyways, the stock is down 10% today because aluminium and crude is up. And guess what? When it's going to be down, then the stock's going to be up, right? And why is aluminum up with crude? Because aluminum, of course, takes a lot of power. It takes a lot of power to manufacture aluminum. And if you look at the price action of Pepsi, for example, Pepsi's down 3%. Also on aluminum. It's the short-sightedness. To me, they should focus on them taking market share and Alani actually taking a whole bunch of market share. But they're not. They're not. And so that's how you end up with Celsius back at $29 when this stock was trading nearly at 100 a year and a half ago. So, down 70%. EV over GP over RG is 0.13. And by the way, when this stock was trading at 100, you had an enormous threat from Alani. They acquired that threat. That threat is gone. So here I have two businesses with perhaps temporary margin pressures that don't mean much to the long-term thesis. But because of that, their stocks got halved because of temporary margin pressures. This market is just so unforgiving. And let me conclude with HIMS. So tonight we have HIMS earning. I'm going to call it Fight Night. Tonight is HIMS versus Mr. Market. That's what we're going to have tonight. What do I expect? I don't know. But I expect a very large move. And I'm sure there are some people who positioned for volatility with options, coloring around the price, and you can bet on volatility. I don't know the direction. I have no idea, and I wouldn't play it, by the way. I definitely wouldn't play the direction, because you could have an amazing earnings report and the stock could still drop, or you could have a very bad earnings report and somehow the stock could go up because of a short squeeze. So to me, I wouldn't play it. I can tell you what I expect. I want them to talk about AI. Please talk a lot about AI. I want them to talk about peptides. What's the plan, right? Are we going to have BPC 157, TB 500, all these very popular peptides? Are we going to have them? When? Where are they going to be made? Are they going to be made in CS Bio in California? Okay, updated guidance. The outlook is now sandbagged. I want them to show us outdated guidance, and I've said that before, because the eucalyptus acquisition is not baked into the guide they gave us in Q1. That outlook is now heavily sandbagged. It'd be nice if they updated the outlook, perhaps gave us a 2030 outlook. Also, their initial outlook didn't include branded GLP-1s. At least the Lilly was not included. I would like them to include some of that. HIMS has $30 right now, $30.1 is still too cheap. It's still down 43%. So this stock too has been halved for a much healthier and a much better business than it was a year ago. HIMS is so much healthier and better than it was a year ago. I mean, we acquired Eucalyptus. We have all of the branded GLPs. Peptides are going to be approved. And the stock is trading at half what it was trading last year when we had so much uncertainty, regarding especially getting Lilly. I mean, we got Lilly. HIMS got Lilly. HIMS is selling Lilly. And the stock hasn't moved. So this market makes absolutely no sense. EV over GP over RG is 0.11. Hopefully, the market over the long term is a weighing machine. Of course, for HIMS, it has been somewhat of a weighing machine, right? Because, the stock, when I started covering it, we were in the 6, we were in the 5, right? But anyways, we need more time. This was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you're entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me next. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.